I'd like to now introduce a man who I think all of you know, a friend of Nancy Walbaum, the Mets announcer, a man who started 3 games in the 1986 World Series for the Mets. And in a defining moment, actually met Elmo on Sesame Street. It's my privilege to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, Ron Darling.
Eric, thank you for the kind words. Susan, you certainly will be missed. You mentioned Nancy. I have to say, to all the participants, the people that have pushed all of these things forward, we love you. We're lucky to have you guys. You do all the hard work. The 2 ladies that I know here, Nancy and Joni Cohen, are just wonderful people that have always included their time and efforts on things that I try to do. And thank God that you, that you invited me here tonight. What a great moment, and I really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Nance. Thanks, John. I really appreciate you guys. Here's a half Asian kid, half French Canadian, that you've invited here to try to be the Master of Ceremonies. I will say I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts, right in the middle of Mass, and I grew up in the JCC system. When I was looking for a place to go, because my parents were working, a place to go to find a hoop game, the JCC in Worcester, yes, there are Jewish people in Worcester, Mass, by the way. They were nice enough to take me in, and I played in all those teams when I was a kid, and I know how important the JCC where I grew up was in the fabric and kind of the social makeup to what goes on, and I know that the same is here. And so lucky to be here tonight. We're going to get our bidding shoes on, but I think even more importantly, the JCC, the Sid Jacobson JCC here, is just such an amazing thing. There's places, it gives you an avenue for not only your kids who want to play sports or hang out, but also Camp Kehilla, a place where not only our kids that are healthy can go and have a great time, but also those children that really need some help, some time, need special strategies. We've heard about diabetic children now can go to the camp. My youngest son, Jordan, is a type 1 diabetic, and it makes me sad every single day, except he lives his life so beautifully, it eases the sadness. So you're doing such a great thing here, and I think even more importantly, we should talk to, or listen to, what Camp Kehilla can do for families. Tonight we have an amazing speaker who's going to speak for us tonight, and I think with her son Markin, she has been able to find a place where her son who's autistic can find his space in the world, or maybe her family can find their space in the world. It's because of your generosity in the last few years, your generosity this year, your generosity tonight, that allows kids like Markin to have an amazing summer. So Kenia Nunez, come up and tell us your story. And I've spent some time with Kenia, a few moments. What an amazing woman.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you, everyone. Imagine for a minute that you are 10 years old and getting ready for school. Many children your age are carpooling with their buddies, horsing around at the bus stop, and some already thinking about fun times at recess with their friends, but you're not. Instead, you're silently dreading the moment you step into that school. You know that as soon as you're amongst your classmates, a nightmare will begin. You will be called freak, gay, mutant, and it will be all done when the teacher's not looking. Every time you reach out to others, you are rebuffed, sometimes violently. You will always be the last one picked at any given game. You may excel in your classes, yes, but you will be misunderstood by your peers, your teachers, and your school district. You are treated with frustration, you are treated with impatience, you are treated as a burden for being special. Then you go home, you wake up, and you do it all over again. This is what my son Markin experiences every day of his school career. My son is loving, brilliant, and wise. He also has Asperger's. Asperger's is on the high-functioning end of the autism spectrum. Those with Asperger's exhibit an average or above average IQ, but whose social skills have varying degrees of deficits. Having Asperger's can mean having an extraordinary talent, but yet sadly only being known for being a social outcast. Due to district policy, those high-functioning children like Markin are placed in inclusion classrooms. Well, they're called inclusion, but they're truly an exclusion program. The lack of education on the subject of Asperger's and autism leads to the bullying and social isolation that Markin experiences every day, and sadly, it only gets worse as our children get older. In 2010, Markin went above and beyond anything that can be expected from a 9-year-old boy and used his knowledge of the Heimlich maneuver to save a classmate's life. The little boy and my son have become lifelong friends, which gave me such hope for the future. Unfortunately, once his friend moved and no longer attended the same school, Markin's situation at school became worse, complete with both psychological and physical abuse. Sorry. The effects of social isolation can become frightening, even deadly. Victims can be plunged into depression or even worse. It frightens me to think that my son, a boy who is capable of such extraordinary acts of courage, could someday end up desperate, isolated, and forever misunderstood. When you're faced with such darkness every day, it's sometimes difficult to imagine that there's light anywhere, but there is. In Markin's life, there is light every summer and every Saturday afternoon. It shines from the Sid Jacobson JCC Special Needs Center and their one-of-a-kind programs. The beauty of the programs offered at Sid Jacobson JCC is that they are truly tailored for the individual. The talented, professionally trained staff take the time to develop a child's social skills while encouraging personal achievement and yet challenging them to new heights. Rather than abandoning children to their own devices, the Special Needs Center supports growth and learning. In the Boost program, kids learn how to take control of their lives and communicate effectively through visual aids. The Shooting Stars program on Sunday teams up special needs children with their typical developing peers to enjoy the thrill of basketball. Kehilla Saturdays program, which Markin so enjoys, gives parents time to themselves, which we need, and children the ability to relax with their friends and continue to cultivate friendships that they made over the summer. They are all exceptional programs, but what really saved us can be captured in 2 words: Camp Kehilla. Camp Kehilla is Sid Jacobson's JCC day camp for children with special needs. Unlike school, Camp Kehilla strives to resolve every issue on the grounds and use it as a learning experience. Every day is a new opportunity to learn new social skills, to make a new friend, or even discover a new talent. Most of all, it is a place of safety. Michelle Laser, Program Director for the Special Needs Center, and Sharon Hanover, Director of Camp Kehilla, once told me a story that came from Kehilla campers. One day there had been a change in the schedule, and a boy was having issues dealing with the transition. The boy was unable to control his feelings then. He grew really upset and shouted he was such a mutant. A girl his age stopped him and asked him why he called himself that. "It's what they call me at school," he said. "Well," she replied, "we may be mutants at school when we're with the normal kids, but here at camp we're all normal and we're all accepted." What she said was absolutely true. Each day Markin is in a program at Sid Jacobson JCC, I see a renewed strength in him. I know that after a weekend of spending time with his buddies and adults who care about him, he will be able to go back to school with his head held high. Sometimes I see kids who don't have access to this type of programming, and I fear for their futures. Without the socialization skills and a support network, these children may end up with a dangerous crowd. They could even find themselves spending their lives as misunderstood adults or even in the criminal justice system, all because they lacked the resources they so desperately needed as a child. As a result of the JCC special needs programming, my son has found another outlet, vlogging. He blogs at friendstogrow.com, and in it I find insightful writing about his life and the conditions at school. One particular entry made me just simply smile. On November 14th, he wrote, "Today I met a boy who I will call Friend A, who has Asperger's like me. Friend A has lots of Legos, including some the size of 3 babies combined. We played games and he taught me how to write messages on the Wii. We both have trouble making friends. Today was awesome." It was one of his lighter blog entries, but what touched my soul was that he was conscious of calling his new friend, Friend A, in order to protect his identity. Could you envision the world if we all looked out for each other and protected one another? Well, I can, and that is why I'm standing before you today. Thanks to Sid Jacobson JCC, I know that Markin will continue to develop into a man with a unique outlook that will change the world. He has even expressed interest in becoming the 49th President of the United States. So go. And although there is no question in my mind that he is capable of accomplishing incredible things in his lifetime, the absolute greatest achievement that he can accomplish for himself is being comfortable in his own skin. Thank you.